Week 16 of the NFL season begins with Thursday Night Football as the Carolina Panthers take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers control their own destiny en route to the number 2 seed in the AFC. What better place to be than in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in late December as you get a look at Heinz Field, 28 degrees, snow showers in the forecast. So glad you can join us for Thursday Night Football. Bob Papa, Joe Theismann, and Matt Millen. Joe, you know that the Pittsburgh Steelers defense can bring home the Super Bowl jewelry, but in 2010, can their offense take them deep into the postseason?
Bob, they really don't know yet. And having a chance to talk to Ben Roethlisberger yesterday, he basically said, hey, look, this isn't the Steelers of the 70s. That's aren't who we are. We need to throw the football more. They do need to run the football, but what they're seeking is balance. 44 passes like he threw last week against the Jets, that's not Steeler football. Look for him tonight to try and balance it out. 33 runs, 33 passes, and that's the kind of Steeler offense you'll be able to look at and say, yes, they're on track to go for a 7th championship.
Matt, the Carolina Panthers only 2 wins. Huge disappointment this year. John Fox's contract runs out as head coach. Everybody knows he's not going to be back. They've talked about playing spoiler all week. How do they do it, though?
Well, when they're going to do it, they're going to have to do it a variety of ways, but it's going to start with their running game, and that's Jonathan Stewart. Now, the last month, he's been on fire. He's been running over 100 yards a game, and that's going to be tough sledding against his Steeler defense because 63 yards a game, it leads the National Football League against the rush. Well, speaking of defense, this defense of the Panthers is 12th ranked. It's going to have to make some big plays, specifically at least 2 turnovers that turn into points because they haven't been scoring a lot. The reason? They got a young quarterback in Jimmy Clausen, just a rookie. Now, he doesn't have to, he can't lose it for him, but he shouldn't win it. No, he can't win it for him. One of those things. He's got to get it done. But if he does get it done, it has to come down to getting the ball in the hands of Steve Smith. Steve Smith had 2 receptions a week ago. That can't cut it.
No, they need Steve Smith to make some big plays to help out Jimmy Clausen here tonight as we get set for Thursday Night Football. Carolina Panthers have won the coin toss. They've elected to receive, so they'll put their offense on the field to get things going here tonight. Sean Sweezen will kick it off for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Signed after Jeff Reed was let go, signed on November the 16th. Jordan Pugh back deep for Carolina. And week 16 of the NFL season is underway. Mike Goodson on the return. Out to the 25 and gets planted by Ke'Aaron Fox at the 26-yard line. Jimmy Clausen, the quarterback. As you take a look at the Carolina Panthers starting offense, they've been battered along the offensive line. They rely a lot on their center, Ryan Khalil, a Pro Bowler last year out of USC. Well, they need to run the football. Jonathan Stewart averaging 4.5 yards a carry. Steve Smith, their big play guy at the wide receiver position, and a lot of youth when it comes to the wide receivers for rookie quarterback Jimmy Clausen. On a 1st and 10, he'll throw, and the pass is dropped by one of those rookies, David Geddes, a 6th-round draft pick out of Baylor. Jimmy Clausen taken in the 2nd round out of Notre Dame on the season, 3,400 yards passing, just 2 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. And he's a guy that's trying to earn the trust of his teammates, and it's been rough sledding for Clausen. It's been a revolving door at quarterback for Carolina as well. How will he deal with the complex defense of the Pittsburgh Steelers? Stewart with room. Stewart picks up 10 and more. Ryan Mundy finally makes the tackle, but a gain of 12 for Jonathan Stewart.
That's the Jonathan Stewart that we're talking about. You know, in the last month, we said he's been running for over 100 yards a game. They have to get at least 100 yards out of him. Remember, this defense is top ranked. It's only given up 63 a game, but this guy has had big games. He's a physical runner, and if they can be physical against this Steeler defense, they'll have success.
Stewart in his 3rd year out of Oregon, a 1st-round draft pick in 2008. He'll take it again and gets another hole off the left side and is able to pick up 7 as we check the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Ranked 3rd in the National Football League. Casey Hampton, a 5-time Pro Bowler, the nose tackle. Strength of this team, the linebackers. Woodley, 8.5 sacks. Farrier has 5. Timmons has 3, and James Harrison with 10. Ryan McFadden and Ike Taylor are the corners. And Ryan Mundy starts for the injured Troy Polamalu. 2nd and 3 for the Panthers from their own 44. They'll feed Stewart again. This time he gets turned back by James Farrier and slammed down at no gain on the play.
On the big run that he had a couple plays ago, James Farrier filled the hole, but he didn't make the play. That time he got into the fit. The way this Pittsburgh Steelers defense is set up is everybody up there have gaps, all 9 guys. Safeties have the outside, linebackers, and the defensive linemen inside. That time he filled perfectly.
So Hall of Famer Dick LeBeau, calling the defense for his team, says, listen, we go through a lot of walkthroughs. Everybody understands our blitz packages. Don't get too creative. 3rd and 3. Clausen completes it to Geddes, who holds on for a first down. Pickup of 5, Mundy on the coverage.
That's exactly what I was trying to say about Jimmy Clausen. You know, he doesn't have to be the guy who wins it for him. He just shouldn't be the guy who loses it for him. So what does that mean? That means when you have that opportunity, when you have that throw, you have to put it on. They have to get, speaking of the Carolina Panther offense, they have to get in 3rd and manageable for Clausen to be successful tonight.
Goodson will run it. Cut down by Woodley. No gain on the play. Lamar Woodley in his 4th year out of Michigan. 2nd-round draft pick from 2007.
If you want to look at the Carolina Panthers and compare them to an offense, you might say it's the Jet offense when it comes to the running the football and the youth at quarterback. I know Mark Sanchez has been in the league a year later, but you get the ball out of the hands of Jimmy Clausen quick, and as Matt mentioned it, don't put yourself in long yardage, difficult situations.
Clausen will throw on a 2nd and 10. Stewart in space, hit by Farrier, hit by Timmons, takes on Taylor, and he's near the first down.
That is 100% USDA man right there in Stewart. That Stewart is a big, powerful back. 235 pounds. He can make you miss. He can be physical with you. Watch him run behind his pads. Good balance, always moving forward.
I mean, that's Lawrence Timmons and James Farrier. Those are 2 linebackers that he basically sheds to pick up and get close to the first down.
3rd and 1. Goodson has the first down inside the 40 as he moves the mile to the 37, so a gain of 4. So just what we talked about, Matt, in the open, the Carolina Panthers, as Ben Roethlisberger waits his turn, tight to the vest, running the football. We talked about how Stewart's averaging over 100 yards a game the last 4. The recipe right now is what you prescribed early. 5 drives of 6 minutes or longer, 28th in the NFL.
Now they have to get points. That's the key. They've not been big on the points department.
Goodson off the misdirection. Another missed tackle as he takes it to the 35-yard line and picks up 2.
Nick Eason that time had a shot at him at the line of scrimmage. Different names are coming up with missed tackles, and that's not Steeler football. I guarantee you the Steelers didn't come into this game looking at the record of the Carolina Panthers and saying, oh, they're 2-12. We can go out. We're the Steelers. We don't allow people to run the football. Each week, you have to prove you can stop it.
Got started back at the Carolina 26. And we got a whistle and a false start against the Panthers.
That's what you don't want.
Number 12, offense. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
As long as you can keep the down and distance on schedule, Carolina will be fine. This is the one thing you don't want, 2nd down and 13, turning in possibly to 3rd down and long yardage.
They take a look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, ranked tied for 1st in the NFL in points per game allowed, best in the league against the rush, tied for 3rd with sacks. 40 sacks on the season. As Carolina tries to run another play, it's another false start.
False start. Number 65, offense. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That's the tackle, Gary Williams, 2nd-year player out of Kentucky.
Well, and if you're looking at Gary Williams, number 65,
2nd down,
right there. And they're not going to be very familiar names in there. They only have 2 starters in their offensive lines right now in this lineup.
They've had to introduce themselves to each other.
Exactly.
2nd and 18. In space to Steve Smith. Run out by Ike Taylor. Pick up a 5 on the play. So Steve Smith, who only has 43 catches on the season, and has been pretty outspoken about his quarterback getting involved early.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know exactly where he stands with his quarterback. He knows he's young, and he has a little patience with him, but not much. But I'll tell you this, if this offense is going to have success, they need to have Steve Smith involved early. He's their most dynamic big play player.
And because of the 2 penalties, this is the down and distance you do not want against the Steeler defense. 3rd and 13 for Clausen. Goodson held up short of the sticks at the 32-yard line. Farrier got the first hit. It's a gain of 8.
Tackle by Farrier.
This is right at the 33-yard line. The 50-yard field goals in this stadium, teams haven't had a lot of success with.
John Casey, in his 20th year out of Georgia, is going to stay on the sideline, and they'll send out the punting unit. Only 3 field goals made of 50-plus. 2 of the 3 by Jeff Reed, the former Steeler.
And this is the open end of the stadium, so you're really kicking to what amounts to into the wind if you would try a field goal.
Which they're not.
That's why they're going to punt on 4th and 5 from the 32. Reverse spin by Baker. Touch at the 1, but was his foot on the goal line? It's a touchback.
His foot was on the line.
Hugh is pleading the case of Hudson, but they say his foot was on the line. It's a touchback. Looked like a nearly perfect punt, but watch Marcus Hudson's right foot. It's on the goal line. That's why you have a touchback. I'll give you back to Pittsburgh on a gorgeous night. Chilly Pittsburgh weather. No precip as of now. Steelers with their first offensive possession. They'll start from their own 20-yard line. Rashard Mendenhall, the tailback, behind Ben Roethlisberger. Mendenhall with the first touch and room. Mendenhall the midfield and pushed out at the Carolina 44-yard line, a run of 36 yards.
This is a classic case of overcommitment. Watch everybody flow. See the flow? There it is. And once he has one guy to beat, and he beats him, and then it's out the gate.
That's James Anderson, the linebacker, who got beat, and Mendenhall off to the races. A 36-yard run for Mendenhall in Pittsburgh on 1 play in Carolina territory. Heath Miller in motion, gets set right. Roethlisberger on a 1st and 10. Mike Wallace, good catch. First down, gain of 15.
You just have to be so conscious of Mike Wallace. He's so fast. Matter of fact, Bruce Arians, the offensive coach, said, the offensive coordinator said, he's never had anyone that fast with the ball in the air. He just makes you back up, comes out of his routes. He's young. He's a young receiver, only in his 2nd year, here to replace Antonio Holmes, but he has great feel.
He doesn't even know how good he can be yet, Joe. He's not quite yet a #1 receiver. He's going to get there.
From the 30, Mendenhall gobbled up. Tyler Brayton on the tackle. As we take a look at the starting offense for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Flozell Adams was signed late because of all the injuries along the offensive line. Marquise Pouncey, a key component, rookie starting at center for the Steelers. We talked about Mendenhall averaging 4 yards a carry. The Steelers' all-time leading receiver, Hines Ward. Mike Wallace, Heath Miller is back. And David Johnson in the 2 tight end set. Loss of 1 on the last play, 2nd and 11 at the Carolina 31. Roethlisberger, Heath Miller, first down and more to the 10.
What a key component Heath Miller is to this offense. Now, Matt Spaden came in and filled in admirably for him, but he's not Heath Miller. Heath Miller is one of the most underrated players in this league. A top tight end, He can do both run and pass equally well. Runs good routes, has excellent hands. He's a tough guy in line. He's a huge addition, getting him back into this offense.
And you can see the problem Panthers have had on the first drives, allowed 6 touchdowns on opening drives this year.
Hines Ward in motion. Mendenhall is going to lose a bunch as Derek Landry made the tackle. Loss of 4 on the play.
You know, Landry on the first play, he also had penetration and they were able to make him miss. This time he got the same penetration on that backside and made the tackle in the backfield for a loss.
Trey Essex comes in on the offensive line as Jonathan Scott gets pulled after that play. Getting an earful from the coaching staff. Second down from the 16. Screen. Miller. Upended inside the 10 by Charles Godfrey. Pickup of 6 on the play. You know, Roethlisberger told us yesterday about Heath Miller. As you see, Jonathan Scott toss his helmet in disgust after getting yanked. He said he's the best tight end in the game because he brings all the components in one player from the tight end position.
And he plays basically the tight end position. He's not one of those guys like, say, a Todd Heap in Baltimore, where you want to split him out one-on-one and you'll say, okay, go after a linebacker, go after a safety. They like to work with him fairly close. Now he's spread out in the slot on the left side. Give him a little bit more of an opportunity to work against the linebacker.
3rd and 7 from the 8. Roethlisberger keeping it alive. Roethlisberger to the end zone. Touchdown, Emmanuel Sanders. And that's Big Ben keeping the play alive.
It's not only Big Ben keeping the play alive, but it's Emmanuel Sanders staying alive in the play. Ben doesn't have the time to watch him go and snatch this ball. Works, gets away, and just snatches it out of the air. As long as he has crossed the end zone line, in the end zone, and makes the catch, it's a touchdown.
Now, John Fox is going to challenge it because where is the ball, though? Your feet could be in the end zone, but if the ball hasn't broken the plane, it's not a touchdown.
I believe the ball is in the end zone. You can see he sort of catches it over his back left shoulder. It's well in the end zone, and then he gets tackled outside of it. It'd be surprising to me if this isn't considered a touchdown.
That's a touchdown. So where does he have control with the ball? It looks like clearly his hands are on it behind the line. He has to control it through.
Ruling on the field, touchdown, being challenged. Does Emmanuel Sanders have control of the ball while he's in the end zone? Makes the catch and he gets driven out. All that you need is the front tip of the ball to break the plane. Matt, what do you think? John Fox challenging the touchdown.
I think he has control right there, and you can marry these pictures from the side and this. He has control at that point. His feet are in the end zone. The ball breaks the plane when he has control. It looks like it's a touchdown. What a good group of young
After
receivers.
reviewing the play, the receiver lost control of the ball when he hit the ground. It's an incomplete pass. Carolina will now be charged a timeout. 4th down.
What do you think, Matt? They're saying that as he came to the ground, as he tried to control it, that the ground caused the ball to move.
He has to maintain control all the way through.
So the touchdown gets taken off the board, and now Pittsburgh has to set out the field goal unit.
I agree. You know why? Because that's what it is. It doesn't matter whether I agree or disagree. That's what the call is. So, yeah, I agree. I mean, it was one of those that there was uncertainty. We weren't sure whether he was in the end zone or not. Didn't have control when the ball hit the ground. The ball, you've got to have total control of it.
And it has to be maintained all the way through the catch.
All the way through the catch, yep.
Sean Sweezemon to try a 26-yard field goal as John Fox wins the challenge on the touchdown pass to Sanders. And Sweezem knocks it through, so Pittsburgh has to settle for 3. John Fox challenges the touchdown and wins it. Carolina's defense winds up holding Pittsburgh to a field goal. They needed a review, but the Steelers on their first offensive possession take a 3-0 lead over the Carolina Panthers. Obviously, the poll doesn't affect everybody.
Well, we're not sure whether he can feel it or not, Bob.
We'll check back with him a little bit later on tonight. Game time temperature 28 degrees here at Heinz Field. Mike Goodson back deep for Carolina. Goodson from the 7 with a lane to the outside and out across the 40 to the 43-yard line. Emmanuel Sanders made the tackle after a 36-yard return. So Carolina will get good field position. Steelers in front in the first, 3-0. Back in Pittsburgh, second offensive possession for the Carolina Panthers. 11 plays, 52 yards in their opening drive, but no points. After the good kickoff return by Goodson, they start from the 43. Stewart picks up a yard, and that's it. Let's welcome in tonight Alex Flanagan down on the sideline. Alex?
Hey, Bob. Well, Troy Polamalu doing what he can to help out the secondary when he's on the sideline with him. Of course, Troy inactive tonight because of an ankle injury. Mike Tomlin telling me it really comes down to pain and discomfort, and he had too much of it tonight to be able to play. But Tomlin saying that when he is physically able to play, he will play, Bob, maybe next Sunday against the Browns if he's ready.
And that's why, Alex, tonight and the next game is so important. Pittsburgh can earn the second seed in a bye to heal some people up. Stewart with the carry with a 48-yard line, gain of 3 on the play. Lawrence Timmons on the tackle, but for the Pittsburgh Steelers, with Aaron Smith being out most of the year, with Polamalu being nicked up. We talked to Heinz Ward before the game and his veteran legs to get a look at Aaron Smith. A bye is so important for this football team to get some rest and a week off in the playoffs. Third and 5 for the Panthers at their own 48. Pressure on Clausen from Harrison. Clausen, and he completes it for a first down to Goodson. And it's a gain of 15.
Great adjustment by Goodson. Great adjustment.
And Jimmy Clausen escaping the pressure from the outside of James Harrison. Comes in, gets him in the air, manages to swing around to the outside. What? Harrison goes up, goes around outside, keeps the play alive, gets out of the pocket, turns. Good throw. You throw it away from the defender and make a play for your quarterback. That's what Carolina has not been getting to help out the quarterback position.
Goodson's 37th catch of the year. Stewart picks up 2 on the play. Well, Jimmy Clausen made a nice throw there. But it's been a revolving door. They parted ways with Jake Delhomme. Matt Moore started the season. Clausen, Moore, Brian St. Pierre, and Tony Pike. Their combined rankings as quarterbacks this year, last in the league in yardage and in passing touchdowns, and a 57.3 rating. Put it all together, what do you got? 2-12. Second and 8 from the 36. As Goodson goes in motion. Clausen to Jeff King, takes it inside the 30-yard line.
Jeff Davison, the offensive coordinator, is calling a very solid game now. Last drive, they got those penalties that set them away from schedule. But right now, you're on schedule. 3rd and 3. Steelers have to respect both the short pass again, possibly to Steve Smith, or the way James Stewart is running the football, or Goodson is running it. You figure they can pick up the 3 yards.
Well, now they go Wildcat as they split Clausen out to the top of your screen. Goodson awaiting the direct snap on a 3rd and 2. Goodson is not getting the first down. James Farrier gets the first hit, loss of 3.
That's really smart by the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. As soon as they see it, watch them attack the line of scrimmage. This is watch, see Clark coming down the safety. They have an 8-man front. They just attack it, everybody in their gaps, and that's the way you attack the runner right there. That's really well done by Farrier.
James Farrier's been doing it for 14 years. So the Carolina drive stalls in the same spot as their first drive, the Pittsburgh 32, and before Jason Baker can punt, that is the end of quarter number 3. Pittsburgh trying to keep their momentum rolling toward the number 2 seed in the AFC, a 3-0 lead after 1. Back in Pittsburgh, Carolina originally had the punt team out at the end of the first quarter, but they're going for it at the Pittsburgh Steelers 32-yard line. Mike Tomlin and his staff had to get the defense back out on the field. It's a 4th and 5 for Jimmy Clausen and the Panthers to start the second quarter down 3-0.
They're in man.
Clausen hit by Farrier and sacked.
They locked up outside, Bob. They locked up outside, and they brought pressure inside. More numbers than they could handle. The result is a sack. We'll be right back.
Tonight's aerial coverage being presented by Southwest Airlines. From Pittsburgh, Thursday Night Football. Bob Papa, Joe Theismann, Matt Millen, Alex Flanagan. Pittsburgh Steelers control their own destiny to get the number 2 seed in the AFC. They need to win out, trying to lock down the division. Carolina goes for it on 4th and 5. Clausen gets sacked. Pittsburgh takes over at their own 36, up 3-0. Rashad Mendenhall, a half yard, and that's it.
You take a look at that last play, Bob. What it is here, this is the key right here. Goodson does not block Ferry. This is a quarterback draw all the way. All the receivers are running down the field. Jimmy Clausen plants his right foot, tucks right there. You don't get that block. What happens is Jimmy Clausen has nowhere to go. It's a good call. It's poorly executed by the young halfback.
Carolina originally was going to punt near the end of the first quarter. They go for it on the first play of the second. Roethlisberger to throw. Mendenhall with a lot of room into Carolina territory, cut down by Richard Marshall, gain of 18.
Yeah, he beat James Anderson, and Anderson had man coverage coming out of the back, Joe, and he tried to jump his coverage, which he did, and then Mendenhall just sidesteps him, gets to the top shoulder, and then there's nobody there.
He's fine if he's in coverage up to the time that Ben's supposed to get rid of the ball. But as Ben, and only Ben can do, he holds the ball a little bit longer, fends off the contact, and makes the delivery.
And Jonathan Scott is back in at left tackle. He got yanked in the Steelers' first series after missing the block. Mendenhall, not upon a crease, dodged inside the 35, picks up 2. Nick Harris on the tackle for Carolina.
You know, talking to John Beeson, the inside linebacker for this Carolina Panther defense, he's talking about Stewart, his own guy, and he's talking about Mendenhall. He said, you know, they're very, very similar. They're physical runners. They're big guys. They're really hard to tackle. And, you know, Mendenhall really has come on. And he's a feature back. He's an all-around back. He can run and catch the ball as well as anybody.
2nd and 8 for Weldon Moore. Flag in the play as he shed the tackle of Charles Godfrey and got back to the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Number 68 offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
This Kemoeatu called for the holding penalty on the Steelers. Well, throughout the fantasy season, well, you think it's over? No, it's not. Play NFL.com playoff challenge today. You can win a trip to Super Bowl 46 in Indianapolis. Sign up for free at NFL.com/fantasy or search NFL playoff challenge.
It's never over, Bob. The fantasy continues.
Mike Tomlin's fantasy is to get the number 2 seed and get a bye for his football team. Right now they have a 3-0 lead. 2nd and 18 for the Steelers. Back at their own 46. Roethlisberger can't find Hines Ward over the middle.
2nd down and 18 is a dangerous down because you're not going to blitz Ben Roethlisberger. So you got to figure he's going to buy time. And if he buys time, one person's going to wind up breaking coverage. And on that one, Hines Ward had the middle of the football field where he lives when Ben is scrambling around. and he overthrew him.
Not only is coverage going to break down, but the guy who's going to break the coverage down traditionally for a long time has been Heinz Ward.
And Roethlisberger, because he keeps so many plays alive, very effective on third down opportunities. Got his work cut out for him on 3rd and 18. This time he's going to get sacked back at the 35-yard line. Charles Johnson's 6th consecutive game with a sack for Johnson.
That was greed. That was, I mean, that absolutely was greed by Ben, trying to get everybody down the field far enough so that he could pick up the first down.
And Roethlisberger slow to get up.
Now he's got Heath Miller out in the right flat if he just wants to dump the ball out. Stepping up, you see Heath Miller go out to the right flat. He has him, but he's looking downfield, and he winds up getting in the vice.
Well, that vice, Charles Johnson, 95, he is having a really fantastic year. He's been rushing the passer extremely well. This is, you can see right there, it ties the franchise record with Kevin Green for a 6th straight game with a sack, but there are games he's not getting sacked, and he's still getting pressure on the quarterback.
Roethlisberger, who had the broken nose, he's been playing with the injured foot. Able to walk off the field under his own power. Being tended to, he's got some blood coming from his nose.
With that foot of his, he wears a 14 shoe. The one on his foot that is hurt, his right foot, is a 15.5. So, I mean, that's a considerably larger foot shoe when you think about it, when something's hurt. Here goes the schnoz again.
Well, Ben Roethlisberger has had numerous injuries during the course of his career that he's been able to play through. The appendectomy in 2006, 2007, the right shoulder and the left foot. Concussion in right shoulder in 08. 09 he had the concussion, which caused him to miss time, the left foot, and then the broken nose against the Ravens. Kind of joked about it because some of his friends said, hey, why'd you get it fixed? You can smell around the corner now. His nose was bent to the right. He said, I don't need to look pretty, just get it straightened up enough. And right now the medical staff checking on the nose as we check in with Alex Flanagan.
You guys can see blood coming out of Ben Roethlisberger's nose as he's been attended to. Remember, he just broke the nose 2 weeks ago. He told me yesterday it's about a 5-week recovery process for the nose to heal. Still says that he has a lot of pain in it, and actually says that the doctor was going to have to re-break it for him at the end of the season to get it straight, but maybe the job has been done for him tonight.
Yeah, Charles Johnson may have gotten that done. Jeremy Campanos, the punt. Captain Munnerlyn muffs it, and muffs it again. And it looks like the Steelers have it at the 14-yard line. Let's see as they unpile.
By Munnerlyn.
And it's Carolina ball.
Carolina ball.
Some lucky Panther came away with an early Christmas present. Captain Munnerlyn booted it once and twice. Panthers dodge a bullet. Welcome back to Pittsburgh. Thursday Night Football. 3rd possession for the Carolina Panthers. Twice they've gotten into Pittsburgh territory. Once they had to punt. The other time they went for it on 4th down, and Clausen was sacked. He'll throw on 1st and 10. He's going to air it out for Geddes, and it's intercepted by Bryant McFadden at the 43-yard line.
Geddes is going to have to learn the transition game in football. When that ball is up there, if you don't get it, you make sure the other guy doesn't get it. You have to turn into a defender at that point. Even at the risk of taking a penalty, he cannot catch that ball.
And you have to find the ball. Just look at his head. He loses the ball completely and tries to play defender right away. I guarantee you, he didn't run up against corners like McFadden at Baylor last year.
And a great job by McFadden to maintain control, because he becomes like a receiver, and he maintained control to haul in that interception. 8th pick thrown by Clausen. One play and Pittsburgh's back on offense. And Roethlisberger stays in the ball game. Got time, he's got a first down, and Heath Miller. Gain of 13.
What a great route by Heath Miller. He sees John Beeson, understands the route that he's running. And so instead of going high on the route, I want you to watch Beeson in the middle. Instead of going high on the route, watch Beeson. He's turned. Beeson's going to turn and look for the Y, okay? Now he sees that, so he comes back underneath. Great adjustment by Heath Miller, and he and Roethlisberger are on the same page.
Heath Miller's such a key component to what this team does offensively, a Pro Bowler a year ago. He catches tonight for 40 yards. The Carolina 46. Mendenhall skips through traffic and grabs 3 on the play.
I love what Bruce Arians, the offensive coordinator, said about Mendenhall last week. He said that he has the feet of a 180-pounder. And then also that what they're doing is they're putting air in his helmet. Remember, there's a lot of air pockets in there now.
Looked like they were letting a little air out.
Well, in, out. It's like going to the gas station. You got to make sure the tires are full. Or maybe a little bit less air.
Then gets the helmet loosened up as a 2nd and 7. Quick slant to Wallace. He's gone.
That was all Ben Roethlisberger. Great read by Roethlisberger. They brought the slot, and they came with heat off the corner. Roethlisberger read it perfectly. Watch it. Here comes the heat inside with the brakes. Wallace reads it. Roethlisberger reads it. He's in the open. Nobody on the field's catching it.
Well, he averages almost 20 yards a catch. That one goes for 43, and the only thing that could slow him down was the warning track. Wallace's 9th touchdown catch of the season. And the Steelers push the lead to 9 with the extra point pending from Sweden. Operation is clean.
Good.
And Ben Roethlisberger makes the Panthers pay after the McFadden interception. Mike Wallace takes it to the house. Well, back in Pittsburgh after throwing the touchdown pass, Ben Roethlisberger heading back to the Steelers locker room. They'll look at that nose in which he injured on the previous series. Mike Wallace with a 43-yard touchdown pass set up by the Bryant McFadden interception. You know, guys, a couple weeks ago, after Jimmy Clausen made a couple of mistakes in a football game, he apologized to his defense. And that's when he got into the little tiff with Steve Smith, who said, hey, you shouldn't be apologizing to the defense. You should apologize to us on offense for the way he played. He throws the interception. Defense has to go on the field, and Pittsburgh makes them pay. Mike Goodson on the return for Carolina. Goodson out across the 25 to the 27-yard line. So what do you think about Clausen? They tried the go route. He gets picked. Controversy with Steve Smith from a couple of weeks ago. Apologies needed on that last play?
Well, no, I don't think apologies are needed on the last play. Geddes is the one who should apologize. Say, hey, look, you throw the ball up. I'll try and go make a play for you. It works hand in hand. Jimmy, I think, stood up and is trying to take a lot of the responsibility of what's going on in this football team on offense, but it has to be shared by other people. Your wide receivers have to help you. If it's one-on-one out there, they have to protect you from the interception.
Yeah, there's no question about that particular play. I think, though, what Steve Smith is talking about is he knows that the young quarterback is struggling, and he knows that he's not seeing all the things, and that's what he needs. Steve Smith they need to get the ball to him. If they get the ball to Steve Smith, he has a chance to make a big play.
And whose fault is it? The offensive coordinator. You have to design
now, Joseph,
something.
You're starting to sound like a Notre Dame apologist.
No, I'm not. Jimmy.
Oh, yeah.
No, let me say something. Jimmy Clausen has a long way to go as a rookie. But if you've got Steve Smith, there has to be 12 ways in a game. You have to design plays to have the ball go in his direction and be targeted to be able to make plays, at least 12.
2nd and 8 after the Stewart 2-yard run. Walks into the air again through the hands of Smith. And incomplete. Well, it works both ways, guys.
Oh,
He's got to catch the ball, too.
Absolutely. That is completely on Steve Smith. But he should go back and apologize to the young rookie right here.
Do I sound like a Notre Dame apologist now?
No, now you don't.
Thank you very much.
Good for you.
No, but
that's a great throw and a chance for a big play. You cannot let it go.
The penalty is declined. 3rd down.
Ball start.
What happens when teams are struggling? A lot of guys drop passes. A lot of guys throw interceptions. A lot of guys miss throws. but when you're struggling, everything gets magnified so much, and that's the way it's been for the Carolina Panthers.
And on the drop by Smith, illegal procedure against Carolina, penalty declined. So it's 3rd and 8 for Carolina. Lost into the air again, got hit, the pass incomplete. Brett Kiesel got a hit on Clausen to disrupt the pass.
Kiesel has he does a fantastic job, as good as anybody in the league, at getting in the throwing lanes and getting his hands up. He just has a knack. Now, it wasn't touched there, but there was pressure right in his face. Wasn't able to step in front of him. Kiesel, incidentally, has the greatest beard in the National Football League.
He looks like a mountain.
Jason Baker to punt again. Not a deep kick. Antonio Brown takes it off a short hop. Looked like a shortstop as he takes it out to the 47. 33-yard punt, 9-yard return, and great hands by Antonio Brown. Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers making life difficult for the Panthers. They lead it by 10. Well, we're in the Steel City, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They love their Steelers, and the Steelers have a 10-0 lead. Remember, Pittsburgh winning out this weekend against Cleveland. They will secure a first-round bye. They start from the 47. Get it out to Hines Ward. No gain on the play. Well, Ben Roethlisberger, 40-yard touchdown pass to Wallace, 40 yards or more. That's the 7th time they've done that. Time for the most in Steelers history with Bubby Brister and Lou Lips.
There's going to be a lot more of them, like I said earlier, with Mike Wallace.
Yeah.
Mike Wallace he's still figuring it out. He doesn't even know how good he can be yet.
Roethlisberger on 2nd and 10, middle of the field. Ward, tackle by Harris, gain of 15 and a first down.
Hines Ward is an artist, and it was interesting. Ben said this about him. He said he's sly, he's sneaky. Everybody hates him because nobody can cover him. And he's not going to run away from anybody. You know, he bumps off the linebacker. He winds up making the play. That's Nick Harris trying to cover him. It doesn't matter. He gets separation and works in the middle of the football field. I mean, look at it. 71% of his catches are in between the numbers. That's where he lives. It's Hines' house.
Oh, Roethlisberger fumbles the snap. Ball is loose, and the Panthers recover it. Derek Landry gets the recovery for Carolina.
This is what we said at the start of the game. This Carolina Panther defense had to come up with at least 2 turnovers that turn into points. They have to get points here.
Marquise Pouncey brings it up. Ben, it just slips out of Ben's hand. It's a good snap. He had both hands on the ball. It's right there, and it just slips just like a
Looks like he pulled out a little too early, Joe, doesn't it?
That is on the quarterback. I'm a believer. Anytime there's a fumble between a handoff or an exchange at the center, it's the quarterback's fault.
Steve Smith in motion. Jonathan Stewart picks up 2 on the play. Well, Carolina has twice had it in Pittsburgh territory. They haven't scored. You get a look at the points per game. And their high water mark was in week 7 when they scored 23, their first win of the year. They haven't scored more than 2 touchdowns in any game this season. But if they want to stay in this game, they really need to get some points out of this.
And this is the direction you're going in where the wind's at your back, so you could try a longer field goal.
Lawson on the rollout. Not a lot there, and it goes through the hands of Smith on the sideline, incomplete.
Waited too long on that. You can't wait that long. That's one of the things, Joe, you and I were talking about this, and you had a conversation with Clausen just last night about that. In this league, when guys are open, the window of opportunity is so small. And the ball, when you see it, you've got to get it out right away and give your receiver a chance to do something with it, or not allow the defense to react to it.
Should point out to Bryant McFadden after that interception, injured his hip. He's jogging along the sideline, but he's not in the game for Pittsburgh right now. Now, 3rd and 8, Carolina's going to call a timeout with 7:17 to go here in the second quarter. Trying to cash in on a turnover. Steelers in front by 10 here in the second. Ben Roethlisberger talking things over with his offensive line with Marquise Pouncey after the fumbled snap, which gave Carolina good field position. 3rd and 8 for the Panthers. 0 for 1 between 5 and 8 yards. Steelers bring pressure. Clausen has the first down to Smith, who secures it right in front of William Gay. Pickup of 9.
Jimmy Clausen does a real nice job of staying in the pocket in the face of the pressure and being able to make the throw. But
flag on the play.
Yep.
This is going against the Carolina Panthers.
And the call was a hold against the Panthers. So again, Carolina, anytime they get a little momentum going, they make a mistake, they can't down a punt with 1. Guy's foot's on the line, goes for a touchback.
They miss a block. Now you wind up grabbing and yanking and pulling down. You have to get in front of these Steeler linebackers and try and stop their momentum.
There's Mackenzie Bernardo trying to hold off the hard-charging James Harrison. 3rd and 18 for Clausen. And a screen set up that goes nowhere for Brandon LaFell. Steelers had it read perfectly.
You know, we see it week in and week out, but you see it with teams that are struggling. They find ways to beat themselves.
It's the mental part.
It's amazing.
It's the mental part of it. It's not as much physical as it is jumping off sides. And Bob, you reference it, not down the ball when you have an opportunity. All the little things fall through the cracks for teams that are struggling.
Got Antoine Randall back to receive this punt. Maybe the quick hands of rookie Antonio Brown unsettled the coaching staff. He made a great short hop earlier, but dangerous. The veteran Antoine Randall starts at his own 20, takes it out to the 27-yard line. Well, one of the reasons why the Pittsburgh Steelers guys have been so successful over the years, stability. Chuck Noll, 23 seasons as head coach, winning 4 Super Bowls, turns things over to Bill Cowher, 15 seasons with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He wins a Super Bowl in 2005. And then their next man, Mike Tomlin, a Super Bowl winner in 2008. But it starts at the top with the Rooney family, and it's all about continuity and the Steeler way.
And you get the sense that Mike Tomlin's found a home for quite a while as well.
They have a certain philosophy on how they handle the players, what players they're looking for. And they draft guys that are going to play Steeler football. Sanders on the catch.
Pass, Sanders.
Marshall on the tackle. Pickup of 4 on the play.
Down by Beeson.
You know, it really is, when you look at the tempo that this organization has, it's very, very consistent as Pittsburgh brings the team quickly to the line on the second down with Roethlisberger.
And when they go to this up-tempo, this is all on Ben Roethlisberger. They turn the whole kit and caboodle over to him.
Darian says he doesn't say a thing to him. Isaac Redmond with a first down. Right up the middle to the 43-yard line. Pickup of 12.
And the up-tempo is disconcerting to a defense because you get yourself set and you have to establish where you're going to be. So the offensive linemen know where you are, the quarterback knows where you are, as well as the running back.
We'll continue with the hurry-up. We were joking with Bruce Arians. He'd say anything to Roethlisberger. He says, I never even hit the click. This is all on Ben.
Nothing on the play. Well, the hard part defensively is it locks you into only a few coverages and things you can do. That's the tough part.
They have 2 deep safeties Carolina does now. Roethlisberger overshoots Sanders. There's a flag on the play as well. 5:17 to go in the second.
Personal foul. Face mask. Number 71 offense. 15-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Former Dallas Cowboy Flozell Adams called for the penalty.
Well, we've talked about the Carolina Panthers shooting themselves in the foot, but then you also have the Steelers that have not done a very good job. They've taken a deep sack. You wind up now, you see the big grab. They keep putting themselves second. We have a third down and 18 that Ben wound up getting sacked on. Now you're back to third down and 3 miles, or first down and 25. These aren't easy to pick up. First down and 25?
Yeah, it's not like you go into your first 25 playlist.
That's not on the short list.
Steelers backed up to their own 29-yard line. Roethlisberger just gets it away. So Redmond puts a move on Anderson and winds up picking up 2 on the play. Johnson was closing in on Roethlisberger. He's already sacked him once.
Here he comes again. They get good. He runs right by Kimatu. Oh, that's just the reason he doesn't get the sack is because it's Roethlisberger. That's it. Any other guy, it's a sack.
And he just doesn't get talked about like we talk about Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and Drew Brees. But he deserves to be in the conversation with the great players in this game. In his own style, he's unique and incredible.
And he has 2 Super Bowl wins. Panthers jump.
And he's smart. They go hard count here to pick up 5 cheap yards. I would think.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
I used to love to do that. Second down, such a great down to do it on because you give yourself a couple if you get stuck. You go hard count here. Now all of a sudden you start walking yourself back into a more manageable situation. Second down and 18.
Which is a little more manageable than second and 23.
Right.
Second and 18 for Pittsburgh 36. Middle of the field. He's got a receiver and a first down. Emmanuel Sanders. Gain of 35. That's how you pick up second and 18. You send your fast guy over the middle.
It's simple. Pick a fast guy.
But Robert McClain, you can't let that guy get in the middle. You have 2 safeties in the middle. Watch 36, McClain. His job is one job and one job only. Do not let him inside. He bit on that little mod, let him get inside, and he got beat.
So they wiggle out of a first and 25 and a second and 18. Now first and 10 at the Carolina 29, trying to build upon a 10-0 lead. Again to the middle of the field. Heath Miller carving up the Panthers defense. Pickup of 20.
What the Steelers are doing is they're running routes with little nods and little sticks and little shakes to them. This is one where Ben's going to pump the ball to Heath Miller. He's going to give a little move and come back inside. Watch it. Number 83 on the left side. Little hook and nod back inside. Little stop and go. Turn, get it up the field, and pick up a lot of yards.
Just faked out John Beeson. First and goal. Running on the inside. Moore picks up a couple. James Anderson. But it really is amazing watching the patience of Roethlisberger as he's able to stand back there and never get flushed.
So here's the thing that it gets overlooked with Ben Roethlisberger. Yeah, he's a big, powerful man, and he can improvise. He can do all those things. But when he goes to that no huddle, his brain now has caught up with the rest of it. He sees things, he's experienced, and he uses what he has and sees what you have and uses it against you. That's the good part.
Second and goal. Throws the slant. Sanders not in. Down at the 1. Robert McClain saved the touchdown. And that takes us to the 2-minute warning. Sanders was fighting for the goal line. Contacted down. Did not break the plane. Back at Pittsburgh, 2-minute warning. Steelers lead the Panthers 10-0. And the Steelers face a 3rd and goal inside the 1 as Emmanuel Sanders stopped just short. Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger putting on a clinic. Roethlisberger on this drive, 5 for 5, 67 yards. He's 13 of 15 overall for 198 yards. and touchdown.
On that last one, it was exactly what he knew what he had. He knew his protection. He knew the route. Ball snapped. It came out right away. He knew he had one-on-one on the outside. Boom. Just take it. Sets up this.
Rashard Mendenhall is the tailback. He's got 10 rushing touchdowns this season. Doug Legursky, the fullback. Mendenhall. Touchdown Steelers. Make it 11 for Mendenhall.
Just pure power football. Takes the handoff, goes exactly where he wants to go and protects it. Just go behind the big guys. Doug Legursky.
One of the good names.
Yeah.
One of the great names in the NFL.
Almost sounds
Legursky.
like he should be carrying the ball.
Exactly. Old Bronco Legursky.
Doug Legursky comes in and paves the way for Mendenhall. Gleason's extra point is good. Emmanuel Sanders had a huge catch on the drive, and Mendenhall pays it off. Steelers by 17.
Rich Eisen here, getting all our ducks in a row for the Sprint halftime show. First half highlights, keys to the second half of the game that seems to be blown open right now, and the top 10 Steelers of all time. We'll discuss it on the Sprint halftime show. Back to you, Bob.
All right, Rich, it'll be a dynamite halftime show. Looking forward to that. Steelers with a 17-0 lead. Rashard Mendenhall with the 1-yard touchdown run. They work their way out of a 1st and 25 and a 2nd and 18. And Mendenhall gets his 11th rushing touchdown of the season. A lot to dance about here in Pittsburgh as Sean Gleason kicks off. 1:54 to go in the half. Mike Goodson on the return. Knocked down at the 25-yard line. Well, let's take a look at Ben Roethlisberger's night, 13 of 15 for 198.
And he's in such control of everything on the field. Went to the hurry up. Matt mentioned it. You get the plays where even when he's under pressure, he manages to know where everyone is. He sees the blitzes coming. He feels it. He and his receivers are on the same page. And give him time. And this is one of the criticisms that people had about Ben was, let's keep him in the pocket because he's not as effective. That doesn't apply anymore.
And you can see the benefits of having Heath Miller back in the lineup. 4 catches, 59 yards, exploiting the middle of the field. Now let's see what Jimmy Clausen can do against this Steeler defense, and 149 to work with. Missed his last 5, and he's had 1 pick. This time Steve Smith makes the catch, and no flag. On 2 of Smith's catches that have been flagged.
The first thing the Carolina Panthers have to figure out is just make some first downs. Start with the baby step. Let's make some first downs, get ourselves in a position to be able to put ourselves in a spot to be able to take a shot at the end zone or put some points on the board here.
I like what the Panthers were doing earlier. They were throwing the short passes, running the football, and then they got away from it.
Twice they had the ball in Pittsburgh territory at the 32. Clausen in traffic, knocked away by Ryan Clark.
It helps if your receivers turn around and look for the football.
It's a hot tip.
I mean, it's just, it's
Something to live by, huh?
this ball is out, and I mean, the only person that has really a shot at it is one of the Steelers defenders. Dante Rosario was running in the middle of the football field and never really turned around to look and see if the quarterback had thrown it.
Troy Polamalu. He could be out there, but
you got to wonder, what would Troy be doing right now if he was in the field?
making Clausen's life miserable. Pass deflected and nearly intercepted, intended for LaFell. Ike Taylor broke it up.
He probably would have intercepted it.
Yeah, probably.
Coming from the other side of the field.
With the hair flying.
4th down.
Nicely done by Ike Taylor on the out. Watch him close. Now the ball was thrown a little bit behind. See, he gets his hand. Now, if that ball is thrown 2 feet out in front more, it's a reception.
Brandon LaFell has an opportunity to make the play.
Baker to punt. 4th straight drive without a first down for Carolina. Takes a good roll for the Steelers. And down at the 45-yard line with a long snapper, J.J. Jansen. Well, here's a look at the AFC playoff picture. The Patriots and Steelers have clinched the playoff spot. Pittsburgh can win out, or a combination with the Baltimore loss, they win the division. They control their own destiny as far as getting the #2 seed and a bye. Baltimore and the Jets at 10-4. San Diego needs to win out. They need help to win the AFC West and beat out the Kansas City Chiefs.
Of course, the Jaguars put themselves a little bit behind their schedule by losing last week to Indianapolis, who now has an opportunity to be able to get themselves in a position to play.
Win out and keep their playoff streak alive. Up 17, middle of the field, intended for Ward, incomplete. Well, we've got a special holiday edition of Thursday Night Football. Christmas night, DeMarcus Ware and the Cowboys travel to the desert to take on Larry Fitzgerald and the Cardinals. 8 p.m. Christmas night here on NFL Network.
That's like day after tomorrow. How about that, huh?
Well, Dallas Cowboys 4-2 under Jason Garrett, playing good football.
Is he going to be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys in 2011?
You know, they're playing a lot more alert brand of football. We'll see them Christmas night. Roethlisberger airing it out. Wallace with the catch. Feet in, yes. At the 15-yard line, a 40-yard chunk.
Matt, that's what we talk about, a receiver helping a quarterback out. When the ball goes up in the air, it has to be your ball. You either cannot allow the defender to make a play on it, or you have to be able to go up and make a catch. What a terrific job he did going up and getting.
Yeah, and he has control, and he has 2 feet in. And just does a nice job. The ball's thrown just enough behind that back shoulder, and Wallace, with the great body control, kinesthetic sense, comes back.
Kinesthetic sense?
Yes, body part awareness.
Okay.
24 receptions, 20 more yards this season, the most for the Steelers since John Stallworth in 1984. Now Pittsburgh will use a timeout with 1:12 to go. Control, left foot is in, right foot is down and in. Maintains control throughout the act of the catch.
Left heel comes down and right heel comes down. I like what Bruce Arians said about his young wide receivers. Emmanuel Sanders, Mike Wallace, and of course Antonio Brown, who we saw only return a punt. He said every one of them has football awareness. And that was the case of what you saw on that particular play. Know where you are, know where the sideline is.
Yeah, they hit a home run with those 3 young receivers are pretty darn good. They'll be all right for receivers here for a long time.
The quarterback's going to be okay too for them.
Not bad.
Wallace has one of the 2 touchdowns for the Steelers tonight. Roethlisberger to the middle of the field for Miller, and he overshoots him. Sanders and Miller were kind of in the same area.
He's mad at himself. Sanders comes in underneath. Miller's open. He runs again. A double move outside, a little stick on, up the field, in the hole, and Ben overshoots him.
You saw John Beeson, the underneath, the linebacker, 52. See, what they were doing is they were just keying Roethlisberger the whole time. Their eyes were back on the quarterback. And when you do that, at times you lose where the receivers are. And that's not good in pass.
Why would you do that? Ben's got the broken foot. Probably not going to start racing upfield.
You're pounding on a rush, and then you're trying to get the break on the ball.
2nd and 10. Roethlisberger again to the end zone, looking for Wallace a little high. Now a little pushing and shoving in the offensive backfield is C.J. Wilson. The Panthers getting into it a little. Tyler Brayton, Marquise Pouncey, the rookie center for the Steelers.
If you're C.J. Wilson at 6'1" and 195 pounds, I don't think there's any one of those Pittsburgh Steelers offensive linemen you want to try and prove your manhood against. Because you might wind up being 5'11" when it's all over.
Marquise Pouncey, the 18th player taken in last year's draft, doing some amazing things as a rookie center. And now Roethlisberger will call a timeout.
Pittsburgh.
With 1:03 to go.
One of the conversations we had with Ben Roethlisberger and Bruce Arians, the offensive coordinator, was when they got in the red zone, and this is something that they got into a bad habit of doing, is they tried to throw the ball in the end zone on every play. They have a competition in practice when you get in the red zone against their own defense to try and score touchdowns. And what we've seen is them fall right back into a bad habit again on those first 2 plays. Take the underneath coverage like you did with Sanders. Give him an opportunity to make a play. You only need to throw it 7, 8, 9 yards.
Well, what he should be able to do is trust his offensive line. And the key and the heart really right now of this offensive line is just a rookie. It's Marquise Pouncey. This kid is a Pro Bowler in the making. He'll make it very shortly, possibly even this year. This kid has the potential to be great. A great center, a great offensive lineman.
He understands all the reads and all the calls. Mike Tomlin said he was born to play center in the NFL. 3rd and 10 for Roethlisberger. Underneath to Sanders, tackled short of the first down as Anderson came flying in after a gain of 8.
See, you make that throw on 1st and 10.
And Roethlisberger's going for it here on 4th and 2.
Get it off. Nicely done by calling a timeout by the Panthers. They were not ready.
That's why timeouts are so important at the end of a half. Everybody tends to think about the offense and protecting timeouts. But there's a case where if you don't have one and you're the Carolina Panthers, you're scrambling to try and identify and find people.
Now, there's a couple old tricks, Joe, that you could use that a couple old veterans might do.
Talk to me, old trick
Well,
person.
what you do, you always have your back to the ball, and you inadvertently bump into it every now and then. And then the official would have to reset it. They stop the clock. That's one thing. And
That's what you used to do. Don't disguise that by putting it in the old rules
that are in.
Yeah. That's what you
And every now and then, you might get hurt. Guys get hurt.
Well, speaking of getting hurt, tomorrow, Christmas Eve, catch the debut of the NFL's top 10 Pittsburgh Steelers. They laid a lot of hurt on people over the years. Debate the list of all-time Steeler greats. Who will be number 1? Find out on NFL's top 10 Pittsburgh Steelers tomorrow at 8 Eastern, only on NFL Network.
Well, he's going for the nail right here. He's going for the nail right here.
4th and 2 for the Steelers at the 6.
Oh, he's going to try to make him jump offside.
Llewellyn Moore, the tailback. I tried to draw him off, and Carolina does not take the bait.
Offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Well, Ben Roethlisberger sets a career high for first half passing, 246 yards on 15 of 20. And the touchdown pass to Mike Wallace. This time Pittsburgh will settle for 3. Sweezum try a 29-yard field goal signed on November the 16th after the team parted ways with veteran kicker Jeff Reed. And he knocks it right down the middle. Oh, we talked about Marquise Pouncey being born to play center. Ben Roethlisberger born to play quarterback. Findlay High School in Ohio, slinging it all over the place. Had a little pump fake, baiting defenders, and then his receivers finishing for him.
Well, he's a big, powerful kid who could run then, and he's a big, powerful man who can run now. When he first came up, he was kind of described as awkwardly athletic, and I thought that was an apt description. But when you watch Ben Roethlisberger, he really reminds me of John Elway. He's a big, powerful guy, can make all the throws. He can get out of things. He's a night at the Improv every time he comes to work. He's an exciting player to watch, and he's gotten nothing but better.
And because of that ankle, he's learning how to develop more and more into a pocket passer. You talk about the improvisation and his comparisons to John on 2 good feet. I totally agree with you. Now he's sort of forced to hang out in the pocket a little bit more because he can't really get away from people as easily.
And he's really, in this past year, obviously with all the things that he had going on off the field, but he really has been able to dive into the playbook and the film study and
conditioning
as well. Sweezum with the kickoff. Mike Goodson on the return. Goodson out to the 30, fumbled the football. And it looks like the Steelers have it. Anthony Madison knocked it away, and I think Will Allen recovered it for Pittsburgh.
Sean Sweesom in there.
And it is Pittsburgh football. Madison knocked it out from Goodson, and Will Allen, number 26, cradles it for the Steelers. And that sums up Carolina's season right there. Can't even get out of the half without being in danger of giving up more points. Now the Steelers looking to tack on to their 20-0 lead with 32 seconds to go in the half and a timeout in their pocket. Middle of the field for Antonio Brown, and he's got a first down.
And he's going to clock the ball, save the timeout.
And he does with 17 seconds to go in the half.
One of the big differences right now with this Pittsburgh Steelers offense is the offensive line. They've been retooled, and I thought last week they probably played their best offensive game of the season. And so, yeah, they have new guys in there. I think the key to this is their offensive line coach, Sean Kugler. That's Sean right there. He's done a really, really good job piecing this offensive line together and getting them to play well as a unit.
First and 10 to the Carolina 15. Roethlisberger, the end zone, and it's caught. Nope, knocked away from Ward. Well, he was able to reel it in, and now a scuffle by the lineman.
Kemoeatu was throwing some punches.
That's a little misunderstanding. They'll straighten it out.
That's the second little scuffle they've had.
Behind the play, Pouncey was mixing it up with Greg Hardy. Charles Johnson threw a right-hand push. Kemoeatu with the Steelers right in the middle of it.
Good job by the officials of breaking all that stuff up and calming them down.
3rd and 10 for Roethlisberger. Got to do something if the time's going to run out. He gets sacked back at the 25-yard line. And Pittsburgh got a timeout before the clock ran out.
It looked like he called the timeout with 1 second remaining.
Timeout with 1 second. Correction, 2 seconds on the game clock. Timer, put 2 seconds on the game clock, please. Thank you.
That was not well done by Roethlisberger.
Well, this is the second time, Matt. You're absolutely right. He's trying to get too much out of this. He scrambles around, throw the ball away. Throw the ball away. First of all, you're going to put yourself in harm's way. You've got a bad foot as it is, as well as a nose. You're going to take a pounding. Just throw the ball away.
Now, at the very least, at least he had the wherewithal when he got down to call a timeout.
I think it was called from the sideline.
And there was,
he did it right away. I saw him.
And there was no flag on the play. There was no flag on the play. So now let's see. Now Carolina is going to call a timeout for 2 seconds.
And final timeout.
But there was not a flag on the last play. John Fox thought he saw a penalty. He's seen a freight train roll over his football team, down 20-0 with a couple of turnovers.
Well, he hasn't helped himself. His team has not helped himself. In fact, they've beaten themselves. And it's tough enough to win in this league when you're playing your opponent. It's even harder when you start doing it to yourself.
And when you're a one-dimensional football team, and that's what the Carolina Panthers are, they run the football up against the best run defense in football. You have to change what you're doing if you can.
41-yard field goal. Greg Warren to snap it. Jeremy Kapanos, the holder. Sean Sweesom, the kicker. And that one is going to drift wide right. The operation was clean, but Sweesom missed it. That's his first miss since joining the Steelers. The Mike Tomlin's ball club, after a slow start, got the engine rolling. And at the end of the first half, the Steelers lead the Panthers 20-0. Stick around for the Sprint halftime show with Rich Eising, Marshall Falk, Deion Sanders, and Steve Mariucci. Back in Pittsburgh at the half, the Steelers lead the Carolina Panthers 20-0 in a game in which Pittsburgh, they need wins in order to try to lock up the #2 seed. And Matt, we're going to take a look at the chalkboard here of Pittsburgh being able to make big plays when they need to.
Well, and it comes in a variety of different ways. And the biggest thing is you have to be able to see things first. They're going to come with a safety off the side, and then Roethlisberger sees it immediately. And as soon as he sees it, the ball comes out. They're trying to run the backer from the inside out. He can't get there. That's just good football all the way around. And Wallace is so fast and can get to a spot so quickly, and he just kills the defense.
43-yard touchdown pass. Joe, let's take a look at the quarterback comparison between the two-time Super Bowl champion Ben Roethlisberger and the rookie Jimmy Clausen.
I know, it's been tough. Ben Roethlisberger's playing like a two-time Super Bowl champ, and Jimmy Clausen like a rookie. He throws the interception. I don't have any problem with the throw that he makes. The wide receivers got to help him out a little bit. They put themselves in some bad situations. The first thing and most important thing Carolina's going to have to do when they get their hands on the ball is figure out some way to get some first downs and stop shooting themselves in the foot and keep backing up on every series.
On the first 2 drives of the game for Carolina, they got the ball to the Pittsburgh 32 and got nothing out of it. They went with a wild card on a 3rd down. Then they tried to run a quarterback draw on a 4th down, Matt. They had opportunities early in this game to put some heat on Pittsburgh.
Well, and they came out and they said, or by what they did, they said we're going to run the football, which they did early. They had 30 yards rushing in the first quarter. They don't have anything since then. Now they're down 3 scores. It changes the whole recipe.
And Pittsburgh gets the ball.
Antonio Brown back to receive it for the Steelers. Brown weaves his way to the 28-yard line as we check in on the sideline with Alex Flanagan.
Hey, Bob, well, the Panthers' miscues have hurt them significantly in the first half of this game. Largely, John Fox says, because they haven't had the ball enough, and they certainly will need it in the second half if they want to get back into the game. Conversely, Mike Tomlin saying that his quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger, has done a very nice job because he has had the ball in his hands tonight. So that's the report from the sidelines, Bob.
Well, in the first half, 13 minutes and 59 seconds on the kickoff return. Alex showing some good moves to get away from danger right before her report. You know, she's so bundled up, too, because it's so cold.
Good feet, Alex.
She's got a little help with the clothing. Mendenhall picks up about 2 yards on the play in the first half. Mendenhall with 7 carries for 35 yards. Now with 37 yards. You know, the one thing, too, guys, about Mike Tomlin, when we talked with him yesterday about Carolina, he said, look, we need to take these guys where they don't want to go. They want to play the role of spoilers, but you can only take that so far. You know, you got to let them make a decision at some point during the game. Do I want to spend the offseason rehabbing? Is our cause greater than theirs? No. We're playing for something. Sort of break their will. 20 points in the first half. Pretty good start for that. Roethlisberger, Hines Ward, upended by Captain Munnerlyn, but it's a first down, a pickup of 23 yards for the Steelers' all-time leading receiver.
And it all starts up front with good protection. And because he has the protection, he's able to see him down the field. This play took a while to develop, but because of his protection, Roethlisberger's able to find him.
6th play in this game of over 20 yards for the Pittsburgh Steelers. 10 at the Carolina 48. Mendenhall gets a block on the edge. Hit by Beeson and dropped at the 43-yard line. Pickup of 5 on the play.
And if Carolina defensively wants to try and contain and control Mendenhall a little bit, they have to make him do this. Make him go east-west. Once he gets those shoulders turned and plants that foot in the ground, we talked about how big he is and how strong he is and the speed he has to get it up the field.
Well, and if they're going to get after Mendenhall, the guy who's got to do it is John Beeson, who's having a very, very good year. He's a Pro Bowl guy. He runs extremely well. He's got good toughness, reads things very quickly. He's the key to their front 7.
Such a positive presence. He's been encouraging Jimmy Clausen along the way, and false start against the Steelers. Looked like the right side of the line. Roethlisberger trying to plead his case with the line judge.
False start. Number 71 offense. 5-yard penalty.
And another flag that's
Second
dropped.
down. And wait a minute.
And wait a minute. Bill Levy.
This is a good crew. This is one of the good crews in the National Football League.
I don't think I've ever heard of wait a minute, though.
Yeah, that's brand
I
new.
like that.
Just came in. It just came out this week.
Page 17 in the rule book.
But what I like
When
about,
there are 2 fouls, tell somebody to wait a minute.
hey, hold on a second.
Yeah.
What I like about Levy, he keeps control of the game, and he gets right to the calls.
There was a dead ball foul, personal foul number 59 of the defense. By rule, the 5-yard penalty is declined. The 15-yard penalty is enforced. Automatic first down, Pittsburgh.
You know, when you're a little kid, Bob, you know when they say sticks and stones may break my bone, but names will never. No, you gotta remember. Somebody jumps in your face. Who cares? Tell him he has bad breath and move away. You don't push the guy with an official standing right there.
What you do is you add that to the list of things that the Carolina Panthers have done tonight that fall in the category of that's why we're 2-12.
Penalty was on Nick Harris. Marquise Pouncey, the rookie, brings a veteran presence as the starting center for Roethlisberger and the Steelers. At the 28 on the 1st and 10. Roethlisberger, Heath Miller, gain of 14.
All kinds of time to throw. All kinds of time. It starts with protection. And the protection starts with the center, with Marquise Pouncey. Pouncey is well beyond his years. You want to know why? Because he sees everything, and he anticipates things. And because they have that protection, Heath Miller runs that route, and the ball's right on top of him. But Pouncey, if you can't see in this league, you can't play. This kid sees everything and is a good communicator along that offensive line.
Mendenhall on a 1st and 10. Just drives his way inside the 10 to the 8-yard line.
And one of the things that, Matt, also he's an excellent teammate. Being a rookie on this offensive line is not easy. What happened when they took him into the offensive line room one day and they said, listen, rookie, we want you to go get a refrigerator for this room. He didn't go out and buy one of those little tiny refrigerators. He bought one like you all have in your kitchen, which is unheard of. It's delivered. Mike Tomlin said, what's this for? He said, just go into the offensive line room. That's what Marquise Pouncey did.
Roethlisberger, great play fake, but the pass for Ward is short. Godfrey, the nearest defender.
You know, I don't want to undersell what Pouncey does, because if you look in this league at what rookies are playing at a very high level, Pouncey's right at the top of the list. You get him, like Dominican Suey, Sam Brown, some of those guys. This guy is playing so well. He's excellent at the second level. What that means is the first level is the defensive line, second level is the linebacker. He runs as well as any center in this league, and he understands all the passing schemes, all the blitz protections. This kid is way ahead of being a rookie.
Roethlisberger is going to run it on a 3rd and 4 and slowed down by Richard Marshall, short of the sticks. Picks up 3 on the play.
Interesting call with Ben Roethlisberger. With the foot the way it is, his nose the way it is. You know, he said, listen, I'm not one of the pretty boys in this game. I'm a Steeler. And we're not about being pretty. We're just about being physical and tough.
And you know he's from Ohio because he said Steeler. Because he was from Pittsburgh, he said I'm a Steeler.
And guys, they don't bother with the field goal. They're going to go for it on 4th and 1, but Carolina has too many men on the field, so the Panthers have to use a timeout with 10:45 to go in the 3rd. Steelers facing a 4th and 1, up by 20. Back in Pittsburgh, Steelers lead it 20-0 here in the 3rd quarter, and they're going to go for it on 4th and 1 at the 5. Remember, the Panthers haven't scored more than 2 offensive touchdowns in a game. Clausen and the Panthers offense has done nothing. Pittsburgh will roll Roethlisberger. Mendenhall has, it's close.
Oh, it's close.
It is right near the marker inside the 4. Looked like when he first caught the ball, he had enough, and then his forward progress was turned back. Harris and Martin on the tackle.
Interesting.
You can challenge the spot here if you're Mike Tomlin.
Interesting by Mike Tomlin, the decision, because he's saying 2 things. First of all, if he kicks the field goal, it's a 3-score game. It's already a 3-score game. Boy, that looks really close.
Yeah, you know, from that angle, you can't see where the ball is because Mendenhall has it tucked away. He is short.
Well, that's a nice job by Carolina's defense coming up and meeting it. They had the play they wanted. Run the little play action inside. Get the back out into the flat.
And let's see if Mike Tomlin is going to challenge this spot. So as of now, Carolina gets the stop on the 4th and 1. And the Steelers stuck at 20 here in the 3rd. Mike Tomlin challenging the spot on the 4th down play to Rashard Mendenhall. As he flips it toward the back judge.
Well,
Keith Ferguson.
The most points that Carolina has scored, and we showed the graphic in the first half, were 23 points in 2 games. Now, if Pittsburgh had kicked the field goal, they'd have been up 23-0. There's nothing in the first half that makes you believe that Carolina is going to run off 23 points in the second half. But we've seen funnier things happen. Ben Roethlisberger's made a couple of mistakes down towards the goal line, and you never know if a ball bounces a certain way, and Carolina hits a big play, they're right back in it.
Now, the problem is you can't tell on the first replay that we showed you where the ball is in relation to that line, and on the second one, the camera's not on the line. So at least from what we've seen, there's nothing that would conclusively tell you that that was the wrong call and it needs to be overturned. On the field, it was ruled short of the sticks, and we haven't seen anything yet that would say Mendenhall made the yard to gain.
And Mike Tomlin, in all likelihood, said, I'm going to base my call off of what I've seen the first half out of the Carolina Panthers. They're struggling to get a first down. If we make them go 96 yards against our defense and they score, that would be a major problem, and I don't believe they can do that.
That's exactly what he said. That's the philosophy behind that last call.
Yeah, unless they've made a trade for Michael Vick at halftime with the way Carolina's offense has
I
been.
don't see him coming out of the locker room. So.
Lack of productivity.
How about Michael Vick? Speaking of Michael Vick, he's done 2 games this year, have thrown him into, I think, the mix of the MVP of this league. It's like a 2-horse race now between he and Tom Brady, but the game against the Giants and the game against the Redskins, his name just comes to the top and says, has anybody done more for their team to help them win than Michael Vick? And, of course, Tom Brady up in New England. I think it's going to be a great race.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Pittsburgh will be charged their first time out.
Yeah, nothing really to show anything, and Philadelphia Eagles can clinch the NFC East with a win. That great 21-point deficit that they came from behind last Sunday against the Giants. 28 total touchdowns, 20 in the air, 8 on the ground. They've got to play the Vikings and Cowboys at home this week. All right, let's see if Carolina can make the Steelers pay for going for it on 4th and 1 at the 5 and get some points. Stewart off the left side picks up about 3. Lawrence Timmons on the tackle.
They need to go back to the same recipe that they had in the beginning of the game, and that's run the football, get to 3rd and manageable. 3rd and short, 3rd and 5 or less. They can do that, Joe. They'll give themselves a chance.
And this is where a quarterback earns the respect of this team. Coming out of the end, getting into scores at particular times in the game. If they can get 3 or 4 more yards, then it's on Jimmy Clausen to make a play.
Steve Smith on the sideline. 2nd and 7. Stewart fights for the 11-yard line. Ryan Clark on the tackle. One of the reasons why you go for it on 4th and 1 at the 5 up 20-0 is because your opponent does not score a lot of points. Only one team scored 2 or fewer touchdowns in every game of the season. That was the 1992 Seattle Seahawks, dating back to 1975. So 35 years. That's how bad Carolina's offense has been, with the 4 quarterbacks, the injured running back, changes on the offensive line, and the young receiver.
And there's confusion now coming out of the huddle. The receivers are on the wrong side. He's going to have to burn a timeout. They couldn't get lined up.
So with 9:18 to go in the 3rd, John Fox can only grimace in pain. His team down 20 in Pittsburgh. Well, they love their defense in Pittsburgh. They just had a great video to get the fans fired up of great defensive plays. 3rd and 4. Clausen's got to deal with that. and the Steeler faithful. From his own 11. Sack. Back at the 5. Harrison got him around the ankle. Loss of 6.
And Steve Smith did come open on the left side for him, but there wasn't any time to be able to get him the football.
Well, he had Steve Smith, and they motion him out, and they stack him. And so there it is, right there. It's right there, right where you want to be. He has Gay, comes back to the inside, and now here comes the pressure. This one.
Well, Jonathan Stewart that time couldn't keep another one of those linebackers out of his face.
Look at the short punt. Brown is not called for a fair catch, and Pittsburgh will start at the 34-yard line after a 31-yard punt.
Well, we've talked about Marquise Pouncey, the center, and there's a number of things that he does. But one of them you're going to see right here. Watch him stay with the block, and he'll just run him right with him. Run him right down the line. And then if you can't see as a center, you can't play. Great vision. Picks things up, directs all the protections on the inside. He's Pouncey. I mean, he'd be a Pro Bowler this year. That's how well he's playing.
And Mike Tomlin even told us that, the kid loves being a rookie. He's like the annoying little brother for the veteran guys on the offensive line, but they all respect him. Mendenhall has his calf cut off, makes something out of nothing and picks up a yard or two. Well, guys, when you're talking about the Steelers, you think linebackers, but they've had a great tradition of centers, starting with Ray Mansfield in 1963.
Well, 13 years there, Mike Webster 14 years, Dermontti Dawson, who everybody compares Marquise Pouncey to because of his athletic ability and his feet and his downfield blocking, which you referred to so often in Matt and so well.
A 47-year run of consistency.
And with him, he'll be here for 15 years.
Mendenhall just slips through tackles and takes it to the 22, picks up 11.
It's a lot like the Chicago Bears middle linebacker position. You get one or two guys playing that thing, it seems like forever.
You can see Pouncey right there, right in the middle, and that's where he's going. And then once he gets to that next level, then it's on the running back with his eyes.
Mendenhall, 12 carries, 61 yards, and a touchdown. Carolina 22, Hines Ward with a rare drop.
Very rare. I was messing with Hines before the game, and we were talking yesterday and said, there's two guys in this league who can't run a lick anymore, and nobody can cover. One of them is Tony Gonzalez down in Atlanta, and the other one is right here, Hines Ward. So I told Hines that. And he laughed at me. He said, "You want to know something? You're right. Don't tell anybody."
Oh, come on.
So I promised him that I wouldn't.
All right.
It was just going to be
just tell millions, right?
Yeah.
Me, you, and a million.
Let's all keep the secret, all right?
Second most games in franchise history. Mendenhall can't bounce it outside. Nice job by Sherrard Martin, the safety, to come in and get the first hit. The other thing about Ward that's funny is, because he's in his 13th year, he's 34 years of age, he almost brings the defense down to his speed and then sets him up. Bruce Arians, the offensive coordinator, was saying, he goes out there and all these young guys, they run 4.3 40, and Ward slows it down just enough so he gets it to his pace, and then he beats him.
Well, what he can do as well as anybody in this league is separate, and that does not require speed.
Like Steve Largent was not the fastest receiver, but he could get himself open and make it so easy on the quarterback.
3rd and 10. Ben to the end zone and knocked away by Godfrey and Marshall, intended for Ward. There's a flag
down
on the play.
And a hat down. 2 hats. Which means they both went out of bounds. Here's Hines Ward.
There were 2 fouls against the defense. 12 men on defense. That penalty is declined.
Sorry.
Pass interference. Number 31 defense. Not playing the ball. Foul occurred in the end zone. Ball will be placed at the 1-yard line. First down.
Okay, the hat was down because the first flag was thrown, and then see the flag right by the cone, okay? And so now you don't have another flag, So then Jim Quirk will take his hat off and use that as the marker.
He went reaching for his flag, but it was already gone.
Gone. Well, he already threw for the 12 men.
12 men.
And then the other one comes out because of the penalty on Marshall.
Because Marshall not playing the ball in the end zone.
Where would he go if there's a third down?
Your underwear. I mean, that comes out next. It always does.
Reporting eligible.
Just say I have a third flag. I just don't have the flag. So first and goal at the 1. Gursky in at fullback for Mendenhall. No signal yet, and they're going to mark his forward progress short of the goal line.
Mendenhall, the ball carrier.
You have to give a lot of credit to this Carolina defense. You look at the production of their offense all year, 2 touchdowns per game for an entire season. You're on the field, 32, 33 minutes a game, and Ron Meeks has done a nice job of getting these guys to try and keep his team in the game and make plays. And they've stood up as well as they can against offenses that are on the field so much more.
They are. It's a tough group. I mean, they will play you hard-nosed football.
Second and goal. Mendenhall again. And no signal. And he did not get in again.
There you go. There's a perfect example of good, tough, hard-nosed football.
Pittsburgh 1 for 5 in the red zone as far as touchdowns.
Matt, this is all a matter of will. That's all it is Carolina's getting underneath the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line, and they're driving them back. See, Pouncey this time, he gets no movement.
Godfrey makes the hit.
That's nice.
Johnson comes in and finishes up and pulls him back.
Third and goal inside the 1. Roethlisberger keeps it.
He's in.
No.
Yeah,
no signal.
He's 6'5".
No signal.
He's 6'5". He's in.
Now he got the touchdown. I like to wait for the signal myself.
I know you do, but if Ben's leaning forward, I'm figuring 6'5", he's in.
Let's see where Ben's going with the football. Oh, he's giving it to the guy with the Ben zone sign.
Give the guy with the broken nose.
Hey, guy made a sign for me, I'll give him a football.
You throw your little I love you sign there at the end, whoever that was to.
Roethlisberger's second rushing touchdown of the season. Squeeze him on for the extra point. Pino's got the snap down, and the Steelers follow Pouncey to the end zone for Ben Roethlisberger. Steelers by 27. Please join us on Christmas night as we settle in Arizona as the Cowboys and Cardinals square off. Note the special start time, 7:30 Eastern, Christmas night. Unwrap your final NFL gifts with us on NFL Network. Cowboys and Cardinals, special start time at 7:30 Eastern. The Ben zone picks up a football after Roethlisberger's touchdown run. Zeroed right in on that side. Big Ben hands out a souvenir. Roethlisberger's thrown for 296 yards tonight. And the Steelers with a 27-0 lead. Mike Goodson back deep. He's coughed one up this evening. Goodson from his own 10. Goodson out across the 30 to the 32-yard line, 22-yard return. Ben Roethlisberger's hit 19 of 28. He's thrown a touchdown pass, and he's run for 1. Steelers in front big. The original Primanti brothers in Pittsburgh, a tradition that started in 1933. Fries and coleslaw on your sandwich. We happened to visit it there yesterday. You know Millen can knock down about 3 of those, but one of the surprises of this trip has been Alex Flanagan's proficiency to attack the Primanti's brother sandwich.
I sat
She
next
had
to
one
her.
on Sunday, and she knocked down a whole pastrami yesterday.
I sat next to her yesterday, and I shared mine, and I reached over and looked at Alex, and she gave me this evil look like, if you touch it, I'll kill you. If only I was sitting next to you, Matt.
Well, Alex knew it was going to be taught her well. Clausen under pressure. Sacked back at the 20-yard line. Brett Kiesel, red beard and all. Timmons got the initial pressure.
Nowhere to go with the ball down the field. And then here comes the rush.
Well, they come clean. I mean, there's nobody. It's hard for a quarterback to be able to operate when you've got people running in your face clean, and that was Lawrence Timmons. Now Jimmy Clausen's running around looking for a place to escape, and you're not going to escape this defense for very long.
Best thing he did there was not fumble. 2nd and 20. Pass intended for Rosario, incomplete.
Now, listen, now here's the big question for this Carolina Panther team. Now, it's pretty much understood that John Fox will not be back. Whoever takes this over, if they have the first pick, they're going to have a tough decision to make. Do you stay with Jimmy Clausen, or do you go with possibly Andrew Luck out of Stanford, who is NFL ready, been well coached by Jim Harbaugh?
Don't know if he's coming out, though.
Don't know that, but that's a tough decision for this franchise to make.
Well, Clausen's got his own tough decision. He's trying to get away from this Steeler defense. Rosario fighting just to get to the 25-yard line. Farrier on the tackle. There's an injured Carolina Panther on the play. Mike Goodson, one of the tailbacks for the Panthers, shaken up.
You look at the 5 young quarterbacks that are starting here in the league. Clausen, of course, for Carolina. Skelton, we're going to see him next week with the Carolinas, actually on Saturday. Colt McCoy back in the lineup. Tim Tebow got his first start and will start again this week. And Sam Bradford, really, you'd have to say, has been the pick of the litter with the young ones.
And you have to go back to week 14 of 1974 when that many rookies started in a week in the NFL. Antonio Brown gets spun around and then knocked down at the 39-yard line by Marcus Hudson. 34-yard punt. Well, tonight's aerial coverage is presented by Southwest Airlines. Get a look at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. It was covered throughout most of the day because there was quite a bit of snowfall during the course of the late afternoon, but the field in very good condition. And you know, as soon as the game is over tonight, they're going to convert this to an ice skating rink for the Winter Classic between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Washington Capitals on New Year's Day. You see on the left, there's the rink that they've set up for the fans as part of those festivities. Mendenhall on 1st and 10 picks up 2 on the play.
In the beginning of the telecast, Bob, you asked me about the Pittsburgh Steelers and their offense. What are they? Who are they? Ben mentioned that they weren't the Steelers of the 70s. They were just going to just pound the ball and play defense. Up to that play, they'd thrown 30 passes tonight, 20 runs. That's who the Steelers are. Get yourself ahead so that now you can start to bring more into balance that run-pass ratio.
Now, when they won in 2005, they had Jerome Bettis and Willie Parker, and Roethlisberger was a younger player. But when they won in 2008, they won it on Roethlisberger's playmaking ability in the passing game. Mendenhall with the carry, flag on the play, thrown by the referee. And that's a hold against Pittsburgh.
Number 89, offense. 10-yard penalty, repeat second down.
You know, one of the things that's obviously a key component to this passing game is the fact that you got Ben Roethlisberger. All he does is win. You take a look at quarterbacks going back to 1970 with a minimum of 75 starts. He's got the 3rd best win percentage of all the quarterbacks. You got Brady 1, great Joe Montana 2, and Roethlisberger on his way to a 68th win tonight.
That's what I was talking about. You just don't think of him as that pure passer, but it's all about one thing in this league, and that's winning. And that he does so well.
2nd and 19. Zips one through the hands of Wallace and nearly intercepted by C.J. Wilson at midfield.
And you see Hines Ward and Mike Wallace having a conversation about where they're supposed to be. I guarantee you Hines Ward knew where he was supposed to be, and Mike Wallace is still trying to figure it out because the ball was thrown quite a bit behind him.
That's got to be a catch. Wallace, you know, Wallace, a young receiver, but regardless of the age, you got to make that catch. That catch is in your hands. You got to come down with it.
Spoken like a true linebacker.
3rd and 19. Mewelde Moore takes it to the 41. Pickup of 11. Richard Marshall on the tackle. So the Steelers will have to punt the football away with 2:15 to go here in the third quarter. Comfortably in front, 27-0 over the Carolina Panthers. Captain Munnerlyn, who celebrated the birth of his son on Monday, he named him Captain. That's his actual name. He was named after his great-great-grandfather. When he was being born, his mother let his grandmother name him, and his great-great-grandfather's name was Captain. So that's
I think it's one of the best. I think it's one of the best names in football. Captain Munnerlyn.
After he muffed that one punt, though, he was almost knocked down to a sergeant. This time he calls for a fair catch at the 14-yard line. Well, with NFL Game Rewind, relive every game of the 2010 season and NFL playoffs online and in HD. Sign up today for new special playoff offers at NFL.com/Game Rewind or search NFL Game Rewind. Well, you know, John Fox and his Carolina Panthers, we've talked about the fact that his contract expires 2-12 on the season. You know, he started coaching professionally with the Pittsburgh Steelers. 1989 was hired from the University of Pittsburgh to be a DB coach under Chuck Noll. Spent 3 years with the Steelers organization, has a lot of respect for Pittsburgh. And this Pittsburgh Steelers team, and Stewart takes the handoff and takes it out to the 20-yard line, and then he gets turned back after a gain of 5. Foxy in his 9th year. You see Jeff Fisher 17 years with Tennessee, Andy Reid 12 years with the Eagles, and Bill Belichick 11 years with New England. John Fox took his team to a couple NFC championship games, reached the Super Bowl in 2003, lost to Bill Belichick's Patriots. He really has handled this in stride, not taking shots at anybody. He says, look, I've always been able to find a job. I'll find a job again.
And the one thing he hasn't been able to find is a quarterback. That's been his problem. It happened a couple of years ago when Jake Loam had that terrible year, wound up throwing all the interceptions. They gave him the extension. Then he winds up going to Cleveland, and that's where he is presently. But, you know, up until a couple of years ago, they were a pretty good situation at the quarterback position. Now it's youth and inexperience everywhere.
And that's Carolina's first down since there was 1:49 left in the first quarter.
This is the quarterback league. You don't have one, you're dead. He really hasn't had one, a real one. He hasn't had the whole time he's been here.
Harrison knocks the pass away. You know, in 2008, in Week 16, they went to New York with the #1 seed on the line in the NFC. They lost to the Giants. They still had a bye, and Arizona came in, and Delhomme threw all those interceptions. And then he still got the big contract extension, and then he comes out in the opener last year, throws another 5 interceptions. He doesn't play well, and it's as if they've never recovered from that contract extension to Delhomme, the quarterback. Second and 10. Stewart fights for a first down. Mundy makes the tackle. Pickup of 10, and what could be the final play of the third quarter.
There's enough pieces, though, here. If they can get themselves, if they can develop Clausen, or if they get themselves a quarterback in the draft, whatever, there's enough pieces here to play well. But this running back is a stud.
The end of the third quarter.
After 3, Steelers dominating the Carolina Panthers 27-0.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la.
How about William Gay, number 22, hamming it up?
He's ready. He's ready for Broadway.
Channeling his Sinatra as we start the fourth. Jonathan Stewart picks up a yard. James Harrison on the tackle. Stewart, 13 carries, 53 yards. You know, you saw the Steelers as a defensive group getting into the holiday spirit.
Yeah.
Well, the offensive guys, they had an answer, but with a little twist, which they're going to show you after this
I
play.
think they have better voices. I think the offensive guys have better voices.
I like Mike Taylor. He just smiled and laughed at everybody.
Second and 9. Clausen with time. Smith with the catch to the 46. All right, the offense is done.
Santa Claus, here comes. No. Louder. It's got to be louder. Louder on 3. Hey, make it, especially rookies, sing loud. Let's go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Here comes Santa.
Yeah, they got Marquise Pouncey, the rookie.
Again, they got him again.
He loves being the rookie, and they have a lot of fun with him. But more importantly, he's a fine young football player. 3rd and 4 for Clausen. Pass is, it's being ruled a catch by Rosario. They took it away from Ryan Clark, and it's a first down. Carolina's going to try to run a play quickly here. First of all, it's an incomplete pass. It's as incomplete as you get. And now Mike Tomlin throws the flag. That's a good throw by Mike. I mean, he threw that thing a good 15 yards out on the field. As you can clearly see, the ball hit the ground and it was loose.
Pittsburgh is challenging the ruling on the field of a completed pass.
So a ruling on the field, the completed pass. Mike Tomlin won one challenge, looking for another. Look at Market Square, all dressed up for Christmas back in Pittsburgh. Steelers lead the Panthers 27-0. Bob Papa, Joe Theismann, Matt Millen, Alex Flanagan. Thursday Night Football. So glad you can join us. Here's Bill Levy after the Mike Tomlin challenge.
After reviewing the play, the ball hit the ground. It's an incomplete pass. With the timer put 13:40 on the game clock. Pittsburgh is not charged a timeout. However, they are now out of challenges
Mike Tomlin,
for the rest of the game.
Mike Tomlin lost a challenge earlier, but that one clearly an incomplete pass. Well, Pittsburgh came into this weekend knowing that they have control of the number 2 seed. All they have to do is handle their own business. Step 1 is almost complete. Next week, they've got to go to Cleveland to take on the Browns, division rival. They've got Peyton Hillis running the football last year. Remember, Pittsburgh, Thursday Night Football, we were in Cleveland, and Pittsburgh was trying to keep their playoff hopes alive, and the Browns knocked them off. I talked to Hines Ward before the game. He said, hey, that's going to be a tough one next week. So we've got to take care of business tonight on a short week, and they have. Antonio Brown from the 9. Retreating, never a good idea. Tackled at the 10, at the 5-yard line, 45-yard punt. Loses 4 on the return. Now, Pittsburgh's already clinched the playoff spot, but they're thinking about that first round bye. Need 2 wins. They lock that up. They're 4-1 currently in the division, and they're tied for first in points allowed per game, 15.7, tied with the Green Bay Packers.
But you're playing on a Thursday night, which is almost, you've got 10 days now before your next game, which is almost like a bye. You'll play Cleveland. If you get the bye, you've got 2 more weeks. You've got Aaron Smith you want to get healthy. You've got Troy Polamalu you want to get healthy. You're going to play 1 game in about 25 days. And you can buy yourself some good time and position yourself very healthy for the playoffs.
Guard Mendenhall picks up a yard on the play, 62 yards on the carry. Well, there's the ice rink set up outside Heinz Field. That'll be for the fans for the Winter Classic. They'll put a rink right midfield here in Pittsburgh for the game between the Penguins and the Washington Capitals on New Year's Day.
Alex Ovechkin and Sidney Crosby.
And they're kind of hoping that Pittsburgh gets a bye so they don't have to dismantle that thing in a hurry. They have to play that first weekend. Take the whole rink apart. Crosby against Ovechkin. 2nd and 9 for Roethlisberger. Mendenhall stumbles out to the 8-yard line.
You know, this Carolina Panther defense, except for 1 run, which is the first run of the game, they pretty much stoned this running game with the Steelers.
And they yanked James Anderson right after that too. They sat him right down after the allowed Rashard Mendenhall to make that kind of a run on the backside. But they were right, ranked 12th against the run coming in. And you have to applaud the effort and the performance that they put on with absolutely no help on the other side of the ball.
And the offense had 2 possessions, their first 2 possessions, where they could have put some pressure points on Pittsburgh. They had it at the 32 of Pittsburgh twice, got no points out of it. Roethlisberger Gets out of the end zone to avoid the safety. Just have to get the nose of the football, get it out of the end zone, and then he's brought down or tied up for the 7-yard sack.
Well, that's our guy, Charles Johnson again. That's his second sack of the night. Really should have 3 if it wasn't for Roethlisberger's just overall strength, but he's had himself one heck of a year rushing the passer.
Came into the game with 9.5 sacks. He's got 2 tonight. He's been in on 2. Jeremy Campinos to punt. And he's got pressure. Captain Munnerlyn at Pittsburgh 40. Retreating and looking for a block. Nice move by the captain inside the 30. And then Will Allen runs him out of bounds. 40-yard punt, 19-yard return. Pittsburgh comfortably in front, leading 27-0. Quarter.
You know, we were talking about John Fox, guys, and sometimes a change of scenery is good for everybody. John's been here 9 years for the Carolina Panthers, taking them to the playoffs a couple, 3 times. Has a young football team, young at wide receiver, young at quarterback. Your running backs are relatively young as well. It might just be the right time for him to go on and get a job someplace else, and I believe he will too.
Jonathan Stewart picks up 9. Ryan Clark on the tackle.
You know, John Fox has one of the very good defensive minds in this league.
That's why I gave him this job.
He's
heck of a coach.
He knows his team. He pushes the right buttons. But to piggyback off of your point, sometimes the guys have heard the same things enough that pretty soon you might be better off moving on.
2nd and 1. And a first down for the Panthers. Jonathan Stewart gets it, and a gain of 3. Well, you know, the first 2 possessions for the Panthers, you know, punt, had an opportunity on that first drive, and then the interception by Clausen, stopped on downs. I mean, it's
look at the -8, -7,
and 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 5 straight times. We got a first down at the 11. Clausen looking for Rosario, knocked away. Great coverage by Mundy, who did not let Rosario go. Mundy starting in place of the injured Troy Polamalu.
Now he went back and he eyeballed Rosario the entire time. I mean, it was only a 3-receiver route. He just kept on eyeballing him the whole way.
He could have given him the ball right in the flat real quick, and Rosario kept waiting and waiting and waiting, and not quite playing enough together, not enough instinctiveness to just rip it up the field and give him a place to throw the football.
Geddes in motion on a 2nd and 10. Stewart trying to keep his feet, lost the football.
Oh, he's calling him down.
And they're ruling him down by contact as McFadden, who had a pick earlier, recovers the loose ball.
Rolled down at the 7.
And now Mundy shaken up on the play.
Watch, he has there's the balance. He's trying to balance.
Yep, Shin is down. Shin is down before the ball comes out. He was contacted by a defender, which caused him to stumble. Watch his right shin. Right there. Down, down. Ball still in his possession, then punched out. Clearly down by contact before the fumble. So Mundy, who's in for the injured Troy Polamalu, is down. Well, how much does he mean to this team, and why would a bye help? When he plays, 29-8 since 2008, 5-7 when he doesn't, counting the postseason.
And even though a defense is called, it's his instincts and his guesswork to a degree, which is founded in a lot of study in anticipation, where he winds up being in places where quarterbacks don't get him, and we see the kind of plays that he's made.
Will Allen goes in at safety. Panthers with a 3rd and 6. Stewart will lose a yard.
I was talking to Dick LeBeau, and he's talking about Troy Polamalu. He said, he has football genius, where he is able to combine not only a feel for the game and his anticipation of certain things, he combines it with his study. And I was fortunate to play with two guys also like that. One was the great Ronnie Lott. He did the exact same thing and took calculated risks, and probably 99% of the time they worked out. The other one was Ted Hendricks, Hall of Fame outside linebacker, who could seemingly tell you where the ball went every time. These are rare people, and Polamalu has that same characteristic.
And I've thrown interceptions to both of them.
John Casey from 27 to avoid the shutout, and the 20-year pro out of Georgia knocks it through. Dick LeBeau likes the fact his team kept Carolina out of the end zone. All Steelers in the fourth. Here in Pittsburgh, Steelers up 27-3 here in the fourth. Reese Lloyd with the kickoff. Antonio Brown on the return for Pittsburgh. Brown out across the 30. The 33-yard line. 27-yard return.
Brown on the return.
For the rookie out of Central Michigan.
There's a couple things about the Pittsburgh Steelers as you look at them. Are they championship ready? They're getting close. And if they get healthy, they get the right kind of people back. Troy back, Aaron Smith back on defense. You got to feel like they're going to do that way. The time off for Ben Roethlisberger will be very good also for that foot that he is having a problem with. And he'll probably be able to breathe coming up in about 4 or 5 weeks as well. So they're going to get healthy, but he still needs to do a better job in the red zone.
Welding Moore takes the handoff.
I think the most important part that they've gotten able to get straightened out has been that offensive line. And they've had guys hurting there, and it's been kind of a mix and match going on there. I think they've settled into a pretty solid offensive line. They've protected Roethlisberger pretty well here tonight. And he's not an easy guy to protect for, because Ben, he'll hold on to the ball quite a bit.
And Flozell Adams is a guy that's really come in and done a really, really nice job for him, moving over from left tackle to right for the first time in a 12-year career.
Moore again on the carry and fights for about a yard. We're talking about Roethlisberger and maybe need a little bit of rest. Alex has a little bit more on Big Ben.
Yeah, Bob, the week before he broke his nose, he broke his foot. That was week 12 against Buffalo. He broke the 5th metatarsal in his right foot. It's kind of a big bone that runs across the top of your foot. And let me tell you, it's something you can see. Ben took his shoe off yesterday. He's wearing those different size shoes, as Joe pointed out. His bone is actually sticking out of the right side of his foot on the edge. You can see it right there. Certainly will take a while for him to heal that injury.
And certainly has been able to play through it, play effectively. Says, no big deal. Just keep playing. Brown gets tumbled forward, and he's got a first down as he rolled right over C.J. Wilson.
Bruce Arians talked about Antonio Brown and said, he's the guy that I like to have Ben get the ball to while he is on the run, because he can come out the other end of the defense, and we saw it on this play, almost turning it up the field, but gaining enough yards for the first down.
Bruce Arians in his 4th year as offensive coordinator with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's the wide receivers coach before that. 3 years as wide receivers coach with the Steelers. Isaac Redmond didn't get the handoff, and the Steelers turned it over. Nick Harris, who's had a tough night, falls on it for Carolina, and it is Carolina ball. So they forced a couple of turnovers. Unfortunately for Carolina, they've turned it over themselves.
I got to be honest, I'm not impressed with the way the Steelers have taken care of the football tonight. That's the second time they've had the ball on the ground between the quarterback and an exchange. You can't be a championship team and do that.
2 fumbles by the Pittsburgh Steelers tonight, Joe.
Yeah, and they're really on Ben Roethlisberger. The first one comes from the exchange from center, and the ball just squirts out of his hand. And then on the handoff, it looks like he puts it up on his chest plate. And you wind up, Isaac Redmond just never really has a chance to make a play on the ball.
Kloss in on a 1st and 10. Looking for Steve Smith. And a pass incomplete. Ike Taylor step for step with Smith.
That's on the quarterback again. You got to put that ball in a better spot.
Well, you know what? He throws it where you're supposed to, a quarterback. Throw it outside a little bit. I mean, Steve Smith starts to sell the route.
Joe.
And he goes up the field.
Joe, hold on, Joe. You're wrong.
No,
okay?
I'm not wrong.
You're wrong. The DB is on the outside, holding outside position. You throw it to the inside, on the top side, away from the safety. Let him go get it.
You don't throw it.
You don't throw it.
That's right.
Stewart on the carry picks up 4.
Or that, yeah. See? I just let you go through the whole explanation until I got to the point where if he's taking the outside position and you have a go like that, you can't make the throw.
Here we go. Look at it again. All right, Ike Taylor's pinned outside.
The thing is, you think you can lead him up in the middle, but you have the safety coming over, so that's not going to be an option for you.
Joe, I'm going with the linebacker on this one.
No, shouldn't have thrown it.
Joe, we are not buying that one.
Should not have thrown it.
You got to take a shot. You're down by 24 points, and you're 2-12.
Yeah.
And now you get sacked
That's
again.
what happens when you take a shot, Bob.
And that's what happens when you don't throw it, too. You know,
Ziggy Hood got the hit on Clausen.
they're just bringing pressure, and it's got to get picked up.
And the thing is too is if you're an offensive line against the Pittsburgh Steelers and you're down 27-3, you know they're just pinning their ears back. They could care less about a run.
Yeah, and
Dick LeBeau is going to just put his foot to the metal and go after you.
And he's putting it on the quarterback because he's waiting. He's saying, all right, let's see if you can see it quick. Let's see if you can get it out quick. And the answer is no. They've been inept at quarterback position tonight, and really that's the difference.
4 sacks by the Steelers tonight. Fair catch, ball 4 at the 9-yard line. Well, 38 years ago tonight, the Immaculate Reception. Terry Bradshaw against the Oakland Raiders. DeFranco Harris. John Madden, don't look! There's Franco. He picks it out of thin air and runs it in for the touchdown. And there is Dan Rooney, the ambassador to Ireland. They won the game 13-7. That's not Franco Harris. One of the
that might be 2 of Franco's right there.
He went to Bramante Brothers.
Oh my!
Oh, Franco Harris. I talked to Franco about that play. And he said that as he was running to the ball, one of the things that went through his head was the legendary coach Joe Paterno, who always preached, "Run to the football." And that's what he did. He ran to the ball, and then the rest, of course, is history. And I think if you listened really close while we were showing that clip, you could hear John Madden, really, from the left coast,
screaming.
It still didn't count.
Mewelde Moore shaken up on the play. Will take a timeout with the Steelers up 27-3. Mewelde Moore able to walk off under his own power. 4:26 to go. Steelers up by 24. Big Ben's got the broken bone in his foot, the broken nose. Why is he still in the game?
Because you don't want to leave. This isn't college football where you want to get the second guy some snaps. I mean, these are the kind of games that you enjoy being a part of.
Yeah, that's fine, except the most important position, he'll hand it off.
Absolutely, he'll hand it off.
Redmond pushes the pile, lost the football as he went down, but falls on it.
And I guess after tonight, 13. He could use a little work on his handoffs.
On his handoffs, why not? And he's had a couple of them get away on a snap from center. The other thing, too, that's jumped out at me is this, and the Steelers talked to us about it, both Bruce Arians, the offensive coordinator, and Ben Roethlisberger, about getting into the red zone and trying to score touchdowns all the time. And they thought they got away from it a little bit, but it looked like they reverted back to it tonight, especially at the end of the half, when all the throws went for touchdowns.
3rd and 6 for Pittsburgh. Little precip falling here in the Steel City. Redmond has the first down and more. Taking on Panthers and still going.
Redmond, the ball carrier.
That's the first run they've had since the first quarter. Up until that point, they only had about 80 yards rushing through the whole game. And then Redmond's able to do some, it's a combination of good running and poor tackling.
Well, what it is they're trying to strip the ball. And you see it so often. To me, the way you teach a defender is somebody tackle him, and the next guy's in, try and strip the ball. But don't try and tackle him and strip the ball at the same time. It's not going to happen for you. I mean, you can see Rashard Martin. He's trying to do it. It's not going to work.
Not against the 230-pound back. Redmond again reaches the 40-yard line. Picks up 4 on the play with 3:11 to go in the ball game. You know, look at the yardage all Pittsburgh's way. Roethlisberger's thrown for over 300 yards. Jimmy Clausen, I mean, just another night. He didn't get a lot of help, but is he really the answer for this Carolina team?
I think it's very difficult to evaluate because of the youth around him. You've got a couple of rookie receivers. The offensive line didn't necessarily protect. The game got away from him. It's an opportunity for him to study again, look at the film, and say, these are the things that I need to work on. But you have to be able to have time to throw the football.
You also need
new things.
Yeah, you also need, Joe, you need somebody that you can trust and you can help.
A mentor.
And Brunell with Sanchez. Something goes wrong, he goes wrong.
Roethlisberger had Tommy Maddox here. I mean,
Jimmy Clausen walks to the sideline, and I mean, you got Brian St. Pierre, who just joined the team recently. You've got Keith Null, who joined it 5 weeks ago.
And Tony Pike and Matt Moore, all young guys, but no veterans to kind of pull them aside and talk them off a ledge during the course of a game. And Brandon LaFell, rookie wide receiver. So it's all kinds of adds up to a 27-3 score on the short side. Pittsburgh, well, they need a couple wins to secure a bye and the #2 seed. They're on their way to one of them.
Rich Eisen getting ready for the Kay Jewelers post-game show. The star of the game is going to visit our set. We also wonder if the Steelers do have what it takes to hang with the Patriots should they see each other in the playoffs. And Rod Woodson will join us as well. So up to you, Bob.
Hi, Rich, looking forward to it. Temperatures in the 20s. Feels like 19 with the wind chill as Pittsburgh will take a knee. At the 2-minute warning, well, Santa Claus came early, 2 days early in Pittsburgh, and delivered win number 11.
There's a nice beard right there. But now this one here, this is the greatest beard in the National Football League.
Oh, yeah, going away.
Brett Kiesel, I love that thing. He looks like Jeremiah Johnson, Mountain Man. That might be NFL history.
That could be historic.
As good a beard as you're going to see.
But that's a Steeler beard.
The Stiller beard.
Mike Tomlin of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Now there's a beard.
Nice,
that's a I call it a D'Artagnan. Looks like it's a swashbuckler. It's a swashbuckler, as opposed to a mountain man. I like the mountain man.
Well, Pittsburgh on a short week. Listen, coming in, they know that they need wins to secure the #2 seed. Huge game. Jets at Chicago. Mark Sanchez with shoulder problems. San Francisco still alive in the NFC West. They need to beat St. Louis. Indianapolis travels to Oakland. Giants win. They're in. They've got to go to Green Bay. Green Bay needs a couple wins to get a wild card spot. Seattle trying to cling to any playoff hopes goes to Tampa. Bucks still alive. Philly knows that if they win their last two, they're going to lock up.
And you're on your way to Green Bay?
I'm on my way to Green Bay.
You'll be up there in Green Bay for that one?
Philadelphia looking to lock up the division. I'm going to Phoenix next, though. It's the holiday edition of Thursday Night Football.
Tonight, wait, boys.
And Cardinals. 7:30 Eastern, special time, Christmas night. Join us. Mike Tomlin's going to enjoy Christmas in our telecast because his team has won tonight. And John Fox lost number 13. Ben Roethlisberger throws for 320 yards. Jimmy Clausen on the night, 10 of 23 for 72 yards and an interception. But the Pittsburgh Steelers trying to secure that #2 seed in the AFC in a first-round bye. Take the first of 2 steps. Jonathan Stewart got off to a good start, 71 yards rushing for Stewart tonight, but it's all Pittsburgh Steelers as they make these big plays at the big time, including a 43-yard touchdown pass to Mike Wallace. Don't forget our special edition of Thursday Night Football at a special start time, Christmas night. We're in Phoenix for the Cowboys and the Cardinals. Big night for Heath Miller as well. Stay with the NFL Network. We'll take you down to the field for the Kay Jewelers post-game show. We'll have the stars from tonight's game live, as well as highlights and analysis from Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. The Steelers knock off the Panthers 27-3.